I come in, sir?
Yes, please do.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
You're Mr. Parikshit.
Yes, sir.
Parikshit Thoudam.
Yes.
Parikshit, I guess English is going to be your preferred medium for interview?
Yes.
Parikshit, you must have noticed that we have taken many steps when it comes to COVID.
Yes, sir.
We're taking as much precaution as possible. And amongst other steps, one of the steps we have taken is that we have kept your chair at adequate distance.
Yes.
So you can notice that you are at a safe distance from anybody in this room.
Yes.
That will make you feel safe, and others will also feel safe.
Yes.
Another advantage of it is that if you're feeling safe and you'll be feeling more relaxed by removing your mask, then you can choose to remove your mask considering that you are at a safe distance. And also this mask has generally this fogging issue with the glasses.
Yes, sir.
So would you like to remove your mask?
Yes, I would like to remove.
Please do.
Thank you.
Right. So you're comfortable?
Yes.
You're not having any symptoms yourself?
No, sir.
Fine. Then Parikshit, let us start. To begin with, I want you to introduce yourself to board members.
Sir, so I was born and brought up in Manipur, Imphal, and I did my schooling from Sainik School, Imphal, till my 12th standard. After which I got selected for the Kishore Vigyanik Protsahan Yojana, and I got admitted to the Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Bhopal, where I completed my master's, integrated master's in biology. During my school days and college days, I participated in many curriculars and extracurricular activities, which helped me shape my personality and also understand myself better. Then in 2019, I wrote the UPSC CSC exam, and I got through, and I am now posted as an assistant DGFT in the Indian Trade Service, undergoing professional training.
You are allotted Indian Trade Service.
Yes, sir.
You're not happy with your current service, or you're happy but you are looking for improvements?
Sir, I am very happy with the present service, but of course I'm looking for improvements, sir, because there are other services which has better career growth and better opportunities to serve the country in many other dimensions other than the trade service.
Okay. But Parikshit, I couldn't understand that your academic graph suggests that you were a good science student. You were given this Vigyanik Protsahan award thing. Yes. You studied from a nice institution which is designed to train budding scientists. The idea of sending students to that place is that they'll become a scientist and they'll serve the nation as scientists.
Yes.
Then why are you not fulfilling that expectation of the nation and getting into administration, which to be honest, any BA pass student can actually handle?
Sir, right now I think administration is becoming very complex, and we see during the COVID pandemic also how decision making is intertwined with science and technology. So I hope that the knowledge that I've garnered in the college would be put to good use and bring some domain knowledge whenever we have some meetings. So that is one major aim. And as far as the idea of establishing ISERS is concerned, almost 70 to 80% of students are still going out for PhDs and research oriented jobs. I think so the main idea behind the institute as such, which was established by the MHRD, is being met to a certain extent, sir.
Parikshit, another thing I find a little baffling is that you did this integrated masters in biological sciences.
Yes.
And both botany and zoology are available as optional subject, but
yes.
Still you went on to choose anthropology, which is basically a boundary line subject between the humanities, social sciences and sciences.
Yes.
So why so?
Sir, so the biology which is offered in our college is completely different. Why? Because we focus more on research and on frontiers of research. That is where our focus lies. And there are certain components in botany or zoology which is not covered in our syllabus. So that is one major reason why I did not take, because I even picked up zoology as an optional and tried studying, but it was too much of an effort. Also, sir, in anthropology, the major advantage is that it was going to help me in my general studies as well. Also, while going through the syllabus, I realized that I will also get to know a lot about myself, my community, because it talks about tribals, it talks about ethnic communities. So I think, and this should also help me enhance my knowledge apart from mere science, can also give me the social sciences aspect. So that is the reason why I took anthropology.
I'm happy you mentioned this ethnicity issue here.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to have your perspective on the fact that one of the reasons why we see that in what we call, at least in northern India, if not entire India, there is this to some extent a racism against many ethnicities, including people coming from northeast. And one of the reasons which I understand is that our very poor understanding of anthropology in general as masses. Do you believe that the Indian population in general need to be more educated, or you believe that these are only a few instances and in general we are tolerant to all ethnicities?
Sir, I think even few instances is the abrogation of somebody's fundamental rights. So that should not be overlooked. Now, as far as the knowledge of Northeast or knowledge of one part of the country in another part of the country is concerned, I think there has to be more focus in ensuring that our syllabi is more inclusive. Right now, there has been so many recommendations and committees being set up so far, and they've also recommended the same. Also, sir, right now we saw that there was a Twitter initiative wherein people were actually asking the administration to include Northeast history and their freedom movement in Indian history as well, the syllabus that we study.
But on the contrary, the move, it appears nowadays, is the mainstreaming of history with even more content from northern India. It's mainstream northern India, and further marginalization of certain aspects of history which even otherwise were very little represented, isn't it?
Yes, sir. I agree that, sir, not everything can be covered, but at least, sir, there has to be some mention that then we can create that awareness within the classrooms itself. Otherwise, right now people are getting to learn, students, especially young youths, are getting to learn about Northeast from different sources, like from Northeast, from YouTube or from internet, which may not be correct. So I think a more formalized form of dispensing information is required, sir.
Fine, Parikshit. Thank you, sir.
So Manipur having a too prolonged ethnic classes or division. One, that is very popular in media. That is what Naga Jo, we call in Manipur. Jo is what? Cookie. So Naga Jo conflict. That is a very important subject of media. But another subject is what? Pangal versus non-Pangal.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. This is not actually, you will see in mainstream media, but this is more serious problem. My question is what latest step Manipur government has taken to actually address the grievances of Pangal. They generally consider, they are discriminated. There is what vertical division, Meitei versus Pangal. So what are the latest steps taken by government of Manipur to solve the problem or address the actually discrimination blame of Pangal on one hand and Naga Jo conflict on the other hand? Latest step.
Yes.
Within 2-3 months.
Yes. Sir, as far as my knowledge,
yes.
In regarding the Meitei-Pangal conflict,
yes.
The Manipur government has come out with anti-mob lynching bill because that was one issue. Another thing is that there's a lot of community policing which is being established by district police administration.
Good.
So we can easily report such cases. And lastly, sir, the political leaders are also now coming out and they are now talking to religious leaders and try to bring in harmony between them.
You consider without having the cooperation
yes.
with the neighboring states as well as Bangladesh, because Pangal is what all spread, Assam, right? Mizoram and what Bangladesh Sylhet district. Without having the cooperation of Bangladesh and other states, Manipur is not going to solve this problem.
Yes, sir.
So who is going to make such platform? Manipur government is not capable. So what union government should do?
Sir, I think here we should try to bring in the idea of cooperative federalism
yes.
and ensure that whenever any decision is taken, the union and states are always in touch with one another. And also when it comes to reaching out to Bangladesh, sir, definitely Bangladesh has a major role not only for Manipur but for the entire northeastern region, given the way our geography is.
Okay, what step, 2-3 step you actually consider to solve the dispute in between Naga and Jo in Senapati district?
Yes, sir. So right now there is a ceasefire agreement between the union government and that is one thing. Also, sir, right now as far as I know, there is a committee has been set up by the state government of Nagaland.
That's all. Look, there is a big difference for actually East Imphal and West Imphal. People who are not in Manipur, they couldn't understand what is East Imphal and what is West Imphal. So what is the actually geographical basis of what difference of the ethnicity or community life of East and West actually Imphal, two different districts?
Yes, sir. It's a river that divides these two districts, but among all, so regional
Look, East Imphal having the impact of Assamese culture, particular Silhat culture, what actually so Kachar district culture, and the West Imphal is pure Manipuri culture. So why this is?
So I think that is more to do because of agglomeration of certain population with certain distinct culture into one particular district.
My next question is India is changing its Tibet policy. That is very important. You have seen in different medias as well as in action or reaction of Government of India. Government of India for the first time after a long interval has given actually wishes to the Dalai Lama and some other reasons. Look, US and European country never changed their stand. They remain for actually 70-75 years pro-Tibet. But India has changed from pro-Tibet to pro-China. Now again we are going to be pro-Tibet. What is the reason behind changing our Tibet policy?
Sir, Tibet serves as a very important buffer in managing our frontiers. So, and we also uphold international rule and law when it comes to the ability of people to determine what they want, and self-independence is what we always go for. So I think that is why we are trying to shift our policy as far as Tibet is concerned. And Dalai Lama here becomes a very important figure because there's a lot of belief attached for all the Tibetans. He is the spiritual figure.
My last question.
Yes.
Good. My last question is we have got a very excellent report that is not expected, and the report is a home loan refinancing report. Surprised to know this, during Corona period, the demand of actually a home has not registered any decline, surprisingly very up, right? And the second thing, more demand of a bigger home in comparison to lesser home. And the third very important thing, women had purchased more than actually male, that is 7.6% more than. So, being a student of anthropology, first I want to know how women has superseded actually male in purchasing home, particular big home. What is the reason?
So one thing is because there are certain government schemes which says that the beneficiary should be led by the government. The house should be registered in the name of the wife. I think that may be one reason, sir. Other reason is that, sir, right now we have this new trend of work from home.
Yes, so because of this is the best. Okay, thank you.
Parikshit, you are in trade service. There have been some disputes emerging nowadays between certain companies of France or Europe and Indian government. One case is with respect to Cairns company.
Yes.
Are you aware of the facts of the case?
So I know that there is some retrospective taxation which the Union government has imposed on Cairns, and Cairns has now gone for an appeal to a tribunal, and tribunal has ruled in favor of Cairns. So recently, 2 days ago, they have even taken up some properties of the Indian government, I think in France, I suppose.
See, the properties of Government of India being a sovereign entity, how can a judge of a High Court of France order a private company of Europe to take over the property of the sovereign? Isn't it an attack on sovereignty of India?
Yes, sir. That can be also looked at it like that, but prior to the investments which the company and the country has agreed, if there are proper rules and agreements that the companies have, the participants, the negotiating partners, they have agreed to prior to initiating investments, then that rule should be followed. So we had bilateral investment treaties going on back then. In 2016, we scrapped all of them. Around 66 of them were scrapped. But if the investment was done before that, then whatever legalities we had in the bilateral investment treaty would be followed. Also, sir, as far as investments dispute resolution is concerned, there's sticky points between the stand of the Union government and European Union and the companies from there. So that is also one reason why I think this issue is complicated.
And few days ago, the French government has also launched a judicial inquiry against the Rafale deal.
Yes.
Are you aware of the details of that?
Yes, sir. There has been a case where the government has, not Indian government, but I don't remember the country, sir. I think it was French government. They've initiated this case because they think that there were the technology partner which was listed from India. The way the modalities in which there was this agreement was done is not fair. So that is why the government of France has started this investigation. Now opposition here in the country is also demanding the same from the Union government.
Similarly, the people of Brazil are against a decision of the government of Brazil, under which government had decided to procure Indian vaccine, Covaxin, and there are allegations of irregularities and some kickbacks in that deal. So in recent days, after perhaps particularly change in administration in USA, India's position in the world is sliding. India is losing its face. What could be the basic, that means all these cases are just separate incidents, or there is some broader scheme in these events?
Sir, I wouldn't want to think there is anything broader scheme of things underlying. I think these are isolated events which happened to occur at the similar time, coincidentally.
Okay. Are you following the trade relations of India with other countries?
Yes, sir, to some extent.
What is the status of India-China trade in recent years, in last 4-5 years?
So we have a lot of trade deficit with China. We export around 1.3 lakh crore rupees, but we import around 4 lakh crore. So that's a huge trade deficit we have. And also most of the we source a lot of very key ingredients like active pharmaceutical ingredients or electronic components and certain other inputs from China. So I think we have a lot of trade dependency, but right now the government is also envisaging the resilient supply chain resilience infrastructure with certain like-minded countries to ensure that the sort of hold which China has by its might over other countries is reduced to some extent.
And Indian currency is also weakening recently in spite of a continuous inflow of foreign capital in the form of both FDI and FPI. What factors are weakening the Indian currency?
I think the intervention which the RBI is doing through liquidity infusion, I think that is one key role to play. Also, the government has now come out strongly with a lot of public investments in some way or the other to somehow give stimulus to the economy. Since this flow of Indian currency is also one reason why it is not appreciating much, the currency. Also, it is good the depreciating currency or not so. The depreciating currency is good because it helps in our exports, which we need.
But the actual export data is not suggesting any improvement. Rather, import cost is only rising.
Yes, I think at one point our imports costs were very low because we did not have very much of a oil consumption at one point in time. But yes, sir, now I agree that the our imports costs have increased a lot. But also, sir, there has been good increase in our exports as well. But yes, the bad point is that the exports are for products which is not labor intensive, which are mostly less labor intensive sectors. So
okay, thank you, Parikshit.
Parikshit,
yes,
you have been in Bhopal for your studies.
Yes.
Have you ever visited there any monuments, cultural
Yes,
monuments?
Yes, sir. In Bhopal, I visited Sanchi Stup, and then I visited nearby Udaygiri caves. Also, I got to visit so Bhopal has very good museums. We have Manav Sangrahalaya. So I also visited those museums.
Okay. Why Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Manav Sangrahalaya is situated in Bhopal? Why not any other place?
Sir, I even had the same question, but I think it is mostly because of the location, because it is the central part of the country, and also because Madhya Pradesh also has a very rich tribal heritage and culture. So
why I am asking this question? Because you are also the student of anthropology. That's why I am asking this question.
So I'm not very sure of the exact answer, sir. I don't.
Could you tell us some ancient archaeological sources which has been found in Bhopal and surrounding the Bhopal areas?
So we have the Bhimbetka caves, which is like it has a very rich repository of entire Paleolithic to Neolithic ages samples, Neolithic samples. Also, sir, in the Narmada Valley, we have certain fossil finds which we call the Narmada Man. So that is the single fossil which is putting India on the map of human evolution. So right now we do not have much fossil, mostly because of lack of funding and lack of interest in this area. Also, there are so many river projects which are being done, especially in Narmada Valley, because of which all these fossils are getting lost. So these are certain key issues. But yes, Narmada man is the most important fossil as far as the Indian subcontinent is concerned, sir.
Okay. Recently, China has claimed about a new human species. China is saying it's a longy man or dragon man. Are you aware of that?
So I would like to read more on that.
You don't.
I remember reading it, so I do not recollect it right now.
Okay. In recent Assam Assembly election,
Yes.
Lachit Borphukan was very much in news. Do you know anything about him?
Sorry, sir. I
Don't have any idea. Okay. Give any 3 reasons on the basis of which we can select you.
Sir, I think 3 major reasons would be I am inquisitive and curious, and I'm willing to learn. And second is I like to work in groups and teams. And lastly is, sir, I would like to become a good leader with good leadership qualities. So I think that is.
Okay, you are the student of anthropology.
Yes.
What were the basic reasons behind the emergence of Homo genus? Are you getting my question?
Yes, sir. Sir, I think that is a result of natural selection, and the different species adapted to the different climates in those times. And there are so many different theories. Some say that it is because of our the change in our gestation period, and some say it is because of our hunting mode of hunting, that we went from quadrupedalism to bipedalism. So there are different hypotheses, but the bottom line is that it is natural selection which has pushed us towards this direction and evolution of Homo genus.
Okay, last question from my side, Parikshit. Suppose you have been made Prime Minister of India for some day.
Yes, sir.
Which 2 work you would like to change of our Prime Minister?
So I wouldn't know about changing, but one of the key focus areas would be, sir, decentralization and devolution of power and proper implementation of the Panchayati Raj institutions and municipality system that we have envisaged. That is one of my key. That would be my key area of focus.
It's not happening nowadays?
Sir, even though there are formal structures or institutional mechanisms in place, it can be seen that these are not implemented properly, because since these fall under the ambit of the state government, and the center does not have much say on it, so it has been seen that the states have not been able to function. Even the state finance commissions are not appointed properly. So yes, so that is one key area. And also I think second would be, sir, focus on our human capital, because that is what will take us forward. And if we do not, now is the time for India, and if we do not invest right now, then the future is not good.
Okay, thank you, Parikshit. Sir.
Yes, Parikshit.
Yes.
Parikshit, you know that your name is a mythological name?
Yes, sir.
Do you know that?
Yes.
Any story behind it?
Yes, sir. So Parikshit features in Mahabharata, and his name is also featured a lot in Bhagavad Puran. He was the son of Uttara and Abhimanyu. So he's the grandson of Arjun.
Right. Since you were in Indian Trade Service, you might have observed that the sexual harassment cases, mostly at the workplaces, generally they are the problem of the institutions where this kind of the incident they took place rather than the individuals. We have also observed that in India and Bangladesh, almost 60% cases they are being reported in the garment factories. So you being an officer, what would be your stand in this regard? What kind of action or measures you would take if the things reported to you?
Sir, the first thing is that if certain things are reported, then I would see if the factory has the institutional mechanisms in place. We have the internal complaints committee and other such institutional mechanisms. I'd see if these are set up, and if any cases has been reported to me, I have to take it to the higher authorities of that company, whichever is concerned. That is one thing. And second thing is that as a trade service officer, we have a lot of focus on awareness. So whenever we go for awareness, I think that can be one major focus where we can spread this idea of sexual violence towards people. And also, sir, in the foreign trade policy, we can think of incentives where it can be given to companies if these laws are implemented properly.
This is very serious cases because of the international trade is also being governed nowadays with the human right approach.
My second question to you is that because of you have opted the zone 5th as your second preference, and into this Karnataka as the first preference.
Yes, sir.
Recently, Karnataka has brought up some cases or their legislations where the patriarchy and the casteism in itself, they reinforces each other, like the establishment of some boards. Basically, if I do say some the boards, where the pujaris, the girls have to marry the pujaris, and there is a lot of the incentives like 3 lakh rupees bond and all that. Don't you think so? These kind of the steps on the part of the state, they are ethically correct and legally also viable when the whole state or the society is fighting against the problem of the caste and the patriarchy?
Sir, I think the choice of marriage and choice of partner should be left to the individual at hand, and the laws which are made by the state government is ultimately a reflection of what the community has to say, what the society feels. So I think that greater societal awareness is the key to bring in that change, because that is who they are, the one who will decide their representatives in the future. So if there's a change in the law that is being required, then I think awareness is the key, sir, here.
Anyways, you happen to be a science student.
Yes, sir.
Can you differentiate the BSL labs 1, 2, 3 and 4?
Sir, the BSL, these are safety levels which are protocols which are to be, and other infrastructural aspects which are to be taken into aspect while certifying certain labs. And depending on so BSL 1 has the lowest level of security, and BSL 4 has the highest level of security. So say for example, if you're dealing with viruses, then which is very virulent, then we have to go for BSL 4. Yes, sir.
Okay. Recently we have heard in Assam.
Yes.
The Chief Minister of Assam, he was addressing to police officers, where he has made the statement that police officers should not think twice when any prisoner supposed to flee. What do you think? Are these kind of the statements they go against of the law and order situation when the state chief himself is instructing basically? What is your take?
Sir, the officer has to also use his mind whenever he whenever he takes a call or takes a decision. He has to take what the law has to say and what event has occurred and what are the future repercussions of the action. So he has to use his mind regardless of what the political executives has to say. And our constitution is also ensured that we are independent arms. So I think we have to exercise our power with our own discretion.
My last question to you. In Manipur, there is a district called More that is very close to Myanmar.
Yes.
So what is the strategic importance of Kaladan project, multimodal project?
So Kaladan project is a multimodal project which tries to basically reduce the travel time and costs for shipment of products from West Bengal to the northeastern states. So it connects through sea and river as well as road transport through Sitwe port in Myanmar. So once I think the transport highway, multimodal transport is fully operationalized, then More can become a very important transshipment hub for exporting products. And right now we already have integrated checkposts established between More in our side and Tamu in Myanmar. So yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Parikshit. Parikshit, I was going through your DEF closely.
Yes.
And I observed that there's an income disparity within your family, and your mother is probably not retired.
Yes.
Right. But even otherwise, if you look at your father works with Navodaya Vidyalaya, and there it appears that the pay and emoluments are attractive in comparison to Manipur government, where the teachers are appears to be lowly paid. Why do you believe that Manipur, despite being considered as one of the progressive society, is there the government is not prioritizing education, at least on this front? Why their pay scales are not in parity with, say, the central government?
Sir, I think the major reason is that I wouldn't say that they are not focusing on education, but I think the major reason is that there is lack of funds with the state. The state has to decide where to invest all this money. So that is the major reason why I think the salary is not at par for the central government employees, sir.
Ideally, it should be, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Ideally, it should be, but I think it will take time, sir. Right now, we have to think of ways of generating revenue in the state so that these funds
Many
can be
more
established.
northeastern states have not even implemented the pay commissions which were implemented in the central government. it appears that the government service, the bureaucracy, the administration there is not really on the priority that way, isn't it?
No, sir, I wouldn't call it that way. Why? Because, sir, northeast states are mostly dependent on revenues or funds from the center, because we also have our own revenue generation means, but it is not at par with other bigger states. So I think that is really where we need to focus, so that we, apart from our funds from the center, the state is also able to generate its own funds, so that it can go for welfare expenditures like increasing teachers' salary.
Parikshit, you have mentioned that you like public speaking.
Yes,
that
sir.
happens to be my also favorite area. But unfortunately, for example, a friend of mine once commented, and I didn't want to, but I kind of agreed with her. She said that if you look at the history, good public speakers have given more pain and sorrow rather than joy to the world. If you look at good public speakers, worldwide and in our country as well, it appears that they brought more sorrow, more pain rather than joy. Why is it so? I want to disagree with that, being from the same tribe, but history suggests otherwise, isn't it?
There's equilibrium in both points, but I think we as human beings, our psychology is wired in such a way that we tend to remember unpleasant things a little more, because that is how at least we speak in anthropological terms, that we have been designed to be aware of our surrounding and our threat in our surrounding, so that, and we have evolved in such a way so that we are always ready in case of the threat appears. So I think that is one major reason why we remember sad or unfortunate events more than happier events. Also,
good public speaker who brought happiness?
Sir, plenty, sir. I mean, we can talk about Mahatma Gandhi also. We can talk about...
He always said that I'm a bad speaker, and most people who listen to his speeches agree.
Sir, I would beg to differ with them, and I think it is his humility that he tells that he is not a good speaker.
Fine, Parikshit, it was nice talking to you. Your interview is over. You can go now.
Thank you.
Take your seat, Parikshit. Yes. Tell me, what was your score in interview last time?
I got 193, sir.
193. That appears to be fair assessment. Do you believe that you will be able to repeat it this time?
I don't know, sir. It's very subjective, but I'll try my best.
You'll try your best. So what's your take? How was your interview today? What are the areas you believe you did fine, and where you believe that maybe you can do a bit better?
So I think I'm a little nervous. I could feel that in my voice, and I think I need to brush up on my current affairs, sir, and also a little bit more on Northeast aspect.
Okay, see, Parikshit, as you've been through mill, you understand how the process will go, what are the things they'll be looking after, and if you performed well last time also, so you also know that what are the areas, what are the pressure points that one can actually play with. And so I don't have much to add to most of it. There are a few observations I can make. You definitely are a good candidate, your background is good, you're already selected, and your personality is definitely good, your communication is your strength. So these things are in place, so you don't have to do anything about it. Your entry is good, sitting posture by and large is okay. Two small things. One is, and I know it's not happening on its own, you're actually doing it, probably somebody suggested you, that's why you do it. It has to do with the eye contact thing. See, I know there have been these advices all around that you can have a simultaneous eye contact, have a rotating eye contact, but if you are a public speaker, you're a good speaker, you can understand that it's not really the wise advice. Why? Because if you are talking to me, for example, if I'm talking to you and I look at there, so I will be losing your trust, and I may or may not get trust of that person. So it's as simple. So in any case, primarily you should look at the person you're talking to. That's the best way of doing it. You can have a glance here and there, but primarily you should be looking at the person you're talking to. This is one suggestion, small suggestion I wanted to give. Otherwise, as I said, your voice is good, your speed is apt. Also that your flow is very good. In general, there is a little hand movement also at a few places, not really obstructing the communication, but if it is visible, it means it is noticeable. So it makes sense to place your hand like this. It will be a bit more formal. Other things in general are good. I didn't like your ring. I'm sure you'll be doing something about it, right?
Yes.
So otherwise, in general, you're doing things well. What is your strength? Your strength is analysis. You're able to analyze things and you're able to give original points when it comes to even the extempo discussion that's going on, which is your strength. And you should try and lead the board whenever you can, not really very overtly, in a very subdued manner, to your area of strength. And your area of strength is analytical questions. Your area of strength is when facts are given or facts are there and you try to analyze them, right? So these are the things you can probably handle a bit.
Yes.
Thoda bahut suggestion, a small suggestion is in the area of, as you mentioned, there are certain not huge gaps, but there are certain patches where a little revision will help. Last suggestion, your smile in the last section when you were discussing with me, that was the natural smile you have. I don't know why you were stopping that smile in during the course of the interview.
Yes.
At a few places you can probably use that better, right? Because see, you need to understand, it's very likely that you will be having a welcoming board. It's very likely because they're not getting many candidates coming from your region, and especially not as smart candidate as you. So the smartness suggests that you should utilize whatever positive things are there in your arsenal, and your smile is definitely one such thing. So find out places where you can pass that smile. It will add another 2, 3, 5 marks to your interview, right? Yes. Otherwise, most things you are already doing well. You have to sustain that also. Make sure that from here to your day of interview, you're not sliding down. You have to sustain this level of performance and maybe add a little, right?
Yes.
All the best.
Sure. Thank you.